Hi, welcome to Ignited Minds. The sole mission of this is to encourage constant learning by sharing knowledge and experiences in the form of videos and lectures. Please subscribe to this channel. Uh, in this video, we're going to look at a set of exciting problems related to triangles and angles. So the problem is, can a triangle have two right angles? Or can a triangle have two obtuse angles? Or can a triangle have two acute angles? In the same lines, can all the angles in a triangle could be more than 60 degrees? Or all the angles in a triangle could be less than 60 degrees? And also, if all the angles could be equal to 90 degrees. Before we go and figure out whether they are possible or not, let us do a quick recap. Of what kind of different angles mean. So here acute angle is an angle that measures between 0 to 90 degrees. Some of the examples of the acute angle include 60 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, etc. And coming to right angle, it is an angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. We can easily observe 90 degrees by looking at the shape of a letter L. And when the angle measures greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees, it is called obtuse angle. So with this background, let us look at how we can solve the given problem. So let us take each of this case and try to reason out whether a particular triangle could have a combination like this. The case one is, can a triangle have two right angles? So suppose the two angles that we're talking about, let us say are A and B, and both are right angles. That means they're equal to 90 degrees. As both are A and B are right angle, so when you do a sum of this angle A and angle B, which is like 90 plus 90, we get 180 degrees. Now, going back to the property, the sum angle property of a triangle, wherein the sum of all the angles of a triangle will sum up to 180 degrees, we have angle A plus angle B plus angle C equal to 180 degrees. So let us see what's going to be the value of angle C equal to 180 minus the sum of A and B, right? So now that we know that the sum of angle A and angle B is 180 degrees, let us substitute that in this equation. And what do you get for the value of angle C? Well, we get the angle C as 0. Well, this is not a valid case for a triangle. So, which means that this, therefore, it is not possible to have a triangle with two right angles. So this case is not possible. So let us quickly go to the case number 2 here, where can a triangle have two obtuse angles? In the same lines, let us assume that the two angles we're talking about are angle A and angle B. Let us say that both are obtuse angles, which means that they both are more than 90 degrees. Again, taking a sum of angle A and angle B, like here in this case more than 90 degrees plus more than 90 degrees, what do you get? Well, the sum would be more than 180 degrees. Well, again, going by the angle sum property of a triangle, which means that the sum of all the angles of a triangle will sum up to 180 degrees. So when we substitute these values of sum of A and B in this, what do we get is the angle C will be equal to 180 minus more than 180 degrees. So what do you get for the value of angle C? Well, in this case, the angle C will become a negative number, right? Because if you are subtracting anything more than 180 from 180, it will result in a negative number. So, which means that the angle C will be a negative value, which is not a valid case for a triangle. So, therefore, this case is also not possible. That means a triangle cannot have two obtuse angles. Hope you are following this flow here. So, let us quickly go to the case number 3. So in case number 3, here we are talking about, can a triangle have two acute angles? So let us again consider that the angle A and B are acute angles in this case. That means both are less than 90 degrees. So when you take a sum of angle A and angle B, so angle A since it is less than 90 plus less than 90, so what do you get here? Well, there are three subcases here. Well, the answer could be, it could be, the sum could be less than 90 degrees. For example, if angle A is 30 degrees and angle B is 45 degrees, the sum would be 30 plus 45 would be 75 degrees, which is less than 90 degrees. But at the same time, if angle A is say 45 degrees and angle B is 45 degrees, both are acute angles here, but when you sum up 45 plus 45, it will be 90 degrees. There is also a third case possible wherein if let us say if the angle A is 60 degrees and angle B is also 60 degrees, the sum of these two acute angles 60 plus 60 would be more than 90 degrees, right? In this case it would be 120, which is more than 90 degrees. But obviously the sum would be less than 180. So these are the three subcases that are possible. Again, going with the angle sum property of a triangle, and then if you try to look for what is the possible value of C. See the three subcases, there are three possible values for angle C. So let us take the subcase 1, where if you, subcase 1 is the sum of A and B is less than 90 degrees. So when you substitute that here, so the value that we get for angle C will be more than 90 degrees. That means angle C is an obtuse angle here. Similarly, if you take the subcase number 2 here, where the sum of angle A and angle B is 90 degrees. When you substitute that here, the value of angle C would be 90 degrees. So that means in this case, angle C is a right angle. And if you take the third subcase, where the sum of angle A and angle B is more than 90 degrees, and when you substitute that here, the value that we get for angle C would be less than 90 degrees. So anything that you are more than 90, if you subtract it from 180, obviously you get a value which is less than 90 degrees. So in this case, angle C is an acute angle. As you see, in all these cases, the triangle definitely is possible. That means it's possible to have a triangle with two acute angles. Hope you are following this, the way we are deducing whether it's possible or not. And quickly going to the case number 4 here, where can a triangle have all the angles more than 60 degrees? Well, let us see whether it's possible or not. So let us say we have three angles ABC, all are more than 60 degrees. When you sum up all these three angles, what do you get? A plus B plus C equal to, well, each of them is more than 60, so which means when you add more than 60 plus more than 60 plus more than 60, you get obviously a value which is more than 180. Now again, if you go with the property of a triangle where the sum of all the angles of a triangle will sum up to 180 degrees, it cannot be more than 180. It has to be exactly 180. But now the sum of these three angles is more than 180, which means that it's not possible to have a triangle with all the angles more than 60 degrees. Hope you are following this. Now let us attack the remaining two cases. So coming to case 5, can a triangle have all the angles less than 60 degrees? So let us look at whether it's possible or not. So let us assume that these three angles ABC, each of them is less than 60 degrees. So let us sum up all these three angles. So when you sum up A plus B plus C, which is nothing but you are adding less than 60 plus less than 60 plus less than 60. So what you end up getting is the value would be less than 180 because each of them are less than 60. So the sum of all these things will be less than 180. So going with the angle sum property of the triangle, according to which the sum of all the angles should be exactly equal to 180. It cannot be less than 180. Since the sum of the angles in this case is less than 180, which means that the triangle is not valid in this case. So we cannot have a triangle with all the angles less than 60. Hope you are following this. Now going back to the last scenario here, can a triangle have all the angles equal to 60? Well, let us see whether it's possible or not. So let us assume that these are three angles ABC, each equal to 60 degrees. So if we sum up all these three angles, so we get A plus B plus C equal to exactly 180 degrees. In fact, this exactly matches with the angle sum property of a triangle where the sum of all the angles should be exactly 180 degrees. Therefore, it is possible to have a triangle with all the angles equal to 60 degrees. So in fact, this triangle is called equilateral triangle. In an equilateral triangle, all the angles are equal to 60, and not only angles, the sides are also equal to each other. That's what is depicted in the diagram that is shown there. So hope you are able to understand how we have deduced and then arrived at whether something is possible or something is not possible. So thank you very much for time. We'll catch up in the next video.